You invited them to get naked and sacrifice a small goat.
Michael Best is in the studio with me today. Welcome.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good.
Were we supposed to wear clothes? I'm sorry.
Right. You know, I didn't want to tell you that you were underdressed, but just slightly.
Whoops. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed. I think that when people know Michael today and see this outgoing, kind of a crazy, funny guy, they don't realize what built on that was growing up as an only child. My mother was an alcoholic, and my father stayed on the road a lot. Me and my mother's relationship struggled a lot, and I heard constantly a lot of, you're not very smart, you're not very talented, you're worthless type, and didn't have a lot of self-esteem. I lived in an apartment complex, and there were two guys that moved in who owned the skating rink in Cairo in Thomasville. Actually, Thomasville first is where I grew up. They kind of saw this kid outside by himself all the time. They started inviting me to the skating rink, and I learned how to skate and spent a lot of time up there. And all of a sudden I realized I was pretty good at that. Once I had respect for myself, then I started respecting everybody else, and my life kind of changed.
One of the things that struck me about you growing up with an alcoholic mother, and you said to me that day, was that you learned at that point in your life that it's okay to not be loved by the people who are supposed to love you.
Just because there are people who society says should love you and they don't, it's okay, because there are people that will love you. And it made me realize that love is an action, and it's not just talking it. And the downside was in my relationships with my wives and people that I didn't say I love you enough, because I always felt the actions would speak for it.
3 marriages later,
right,
you
well,
finally...
when they filled out the exit card,
right, then
their comment card was, please say I love you more.
And he took note.
I did.
Obviously, though, it seems like since you have been married so many times, that probably that relationship with your mother carried over somewhere in there.
I think so.
In your relationships and your marriages. You were married for how long the first
about
time?
12 years.
12 years.
And the day I graduated from college, my marriage ended. And I found myself with these 2 children.
So you were being a single father pretty much then to your children.
They were 10 and 5. I was single for about 2 years, and then I married a lady from our church that I knew, and she had 2 teenagers the same age as mine, and we kind of all moved in together as the Brady Bunch. I tried to be way too much in my second marriage. I really did. And I've learned that as a stepfather, that when you go into those situations, you're not the father, or you're not the mother if you're the stepmother.
Right.
I tried to control everything in that family.
Yeah.
I mean, by gosh, if I said it, that's what we were going to do. And honestly, if it could have just been me and her, I think we'd have lived happily ever after. But finally, after about 7 years, we all decided none of us are happy. But in the second one, it really it broke my heart, because I felt like this was my fault.
And you were also starting to have some health problems at that time, too.
I
think all of that plays into your frame of mind.
After my second marriage ended, I really went into this funk of just, I wouldn't say I'm a depressed person, but I just kind of gave up. I mean, I lost my church job of 20 years that I had.
And that was because of the second divorce,
Because of the divorce, they asked me to step down.
And I know that those times, I think anytime you have multiple things that hit you like that, it's easy to spiral into that place. It would be abnormal almost if you didn't have a period of depression or sadness when you have so many losses all at one time, because that's just huge. I think that's one thing that people don't give themselves enough grace sometimes. You need to give yourself grace to get through those times.
And the doctor said when I got there and he ran some tests, he said, you're in grave condition. And I went to St. Joseph's in Atlanta. 7 weeks later, they found what was wrong.
Wow, you were in there for 7
weeks in a hospital.
In a hospital.
And that gave me a lot of time to think.
I guess, right? How long were you single in between your second and third?
The second and third one probably about 5 years.
Okay, so you were single longer that time.
I spent most of that time dying.
Right, that's right.
I was kind of off the market. But
you didn't hit on the nurses in the hospital for 7 weeks?
I just had no energy.
Oh, jeez.
And I started dating a little bit, met a lady, and we dated. And
how long did you date before you got married?
A year.
A year.
A whole
year.
And I checked everything.
Waited a long time.
I really did.
Are you one of those guys who you think you just don't like being alone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I really wasn't in love, and I wasn't very happy. And
one of the things that I've said out of just dating, like I never went the whole 9 yards like you did, but I think that as adults, it's not that we didn't love each other. It's that we didn't love each other enough. And I don't know what the difference is. I don't think anymore between in love and...
I think mine was that. Realized I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be unhappy.
Well, that's what I want, a relationship in my life that makes my life better and easier instead of making it harder and more difficult.
Exactly what I said.
Yep.
And we split, and it was only after a year and a half or almost 2 years. And I think when life throws you a curveball, don't panic. Just swing. Just wait on it and swing.